But you, the road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature of war and a form. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
Ball comes in. Shepard does give it to Halliburton. Halliburton will drive it into the forecourt. Across the timeline, left edge. Neesmith's been unconscious. This time is three from the left edge. Cuts the New York lead down to 2. 2-point game, 6 seconds to go. Halliburton driving. He's in the lane. He nearly lost it. He backs up and unloads a 3. Oh! That did not happen! It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air, and it's dropped gently through the net. The scoreboard shows 125-125. It's called a 2-point shot. Nembhard flips it back to top and in on the right side with a two-hand slam. The lead is 3 with 15 and 3/10 seconds to play. Bridges to get it in. He's having trouble, but he does get it into Brunson. 13 seconds to go. Brunson working, looking for a 3. He got a 3, and it's an air ball, but it's rescued by Hart on the baseline. Out to Towns, hits the front of the rim. Loose ball in the lane. Bridges has it. It's still loose. He got it back. It went off of his hands and out of bounds with 0.2 of a second to play. This game, folks, is over.
Now we're world champions. And so there's an awful lot of shining glory, even more than last time up here. It's just such a big congratulations to all of Indiana, the city of Indianapolis, Coach Dungy, Bill Polian, the whole organization. I'm so proud of my men right there. I love you guys so much. Love you guys. World champions, Indianapolis Colts. Yes.
The Ride with JMV, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, James, that was well done right there. Let this play out and turn that up a little bit.
I got my signals crossed. Just to think it all began on an uneventful morn. Come in, she said, I'd give you shelter from the storm.
That is Jim Irsay. And Jim Irsay had a number of loves. One certainly would be music, along with Indy, along with Colts fans, along with the Colts, not necessarily in that order. And we lost Jim Irsay. We lost a friend. And we're going to go over throughout the course of this afternoon all that entailed his life and what he etched to the landscape here in central Indiana. I mean, all of it. But the one thing that I tried to point out to Tony Katz this morning on his show on 93 WIBC was you are not going to find anybody that cared more about this place and cared more about what you cared about. If you heard all the stories about how much he helped, times it by 1,000. And as significant of a loss as certainly we have had around here, in RIP to Jim Irsay, who passed away yesterday. I should also explain to you what is certainly a respected, sensitive dynamic that we have working today. We are live at Speedway at Dawson's on Main. This is a tavern tour stop. My good friend Britt Holverson is going to join us coming up in just a minute. And we also are going to celebrate what was one of, if not the most incredible games that any of us will ever see. And I said this a number of times last night. I've never seen anything like it. I watch basketball more than anybody watches basketball. I can flat guarantee you that. I've never, ever, ever seen anything like it. And if there was something like it, it happened in the past 2 weeks in a couple of games with this Pacer team. When I say that this is the team, when I said this is why you run it back, when I said trust this group for a variety of reasons, I don't know if I completely meant how it was defined last night in Game 1 in New York City versus the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's the type of stuff that I thought that you were going to get from this crew. You're not going to find a bigger set of balls, seriously, in a dump truck they're going to pull up than these dudes right here. The way that you love and have been told to play basketball, that's how they play basketball. up a game in their best of 7 Eastern Conference Finals. We'll get to Brent coming up in a minute as well. Of course, we're going into the 109th running of the greatest spectacle in racing on Sunday. We shall get to that coming up in a minute as well. But we do want to double back to the passing of Jim Irsay, and I can't give it what it needs right here. I'm certainly not the wordsmith to do it. So let's bring on somebody that probably knows him and had a bond with him longer and at a higher level than anybody. And he's a former coach. He is our analyst. He is our friend. And Rick Venturi joins us to start the show on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, Rick, good afternoon. I love having you on under these circumstances. Certainly it could be better. I don't know where to begin, so I'll just pass the baton to you on the life and the relationship you had as a friend, as a football person with the late Jim Irsay.
Yeah, it's been a really tough few hours for Miss Sherry and I. I got a lot of calls last night to go on the air nationally on radio shows. I just didn't have it in me, to tell you the truth. I figured, I said, I'll collect myself. I'll go on with John tomorrow, and we'll go through it. So, it's, with Jimmy and I, it was 43 years association. We really came into the Colts. He was a young, early in his 20s. I was a rookie coach in the NFL in 1982. And we kind of grew together, with his team. I remember the early years. First time I ever met Jim, he was walking down the complex in Baltimore with a guitar on his back. I mean, I've always said Jim was a baller and a rocker. I mean, I always said he lived somewhere. He lived in some world between Vince Lombardi and Keith Richards. There's no question about that. He really did. He was a Renaissance man in that sense. But as I said, I saw him grow from, just a guy that learned the business. And I think one of the great things that his father did is that, and maybe the best thing he did other than move the Colts to Indianapolis, probably the best thing he did is when Jimmy was young, he forced him to be a part of every part of the organization. I mean, from the business, the advertising end of it, passing out towels with the equipment people, in the meeting rooms with the scouts, and then he spent like 2 years with us on the coaching staff. And so in that process, he became really a tremendously knowledgeable guy, a football guy. I said this many times over the years, and people probably thought it was a company line, but there was no better football guy as an owner in this business. There really wasn't. It wasn't even close. And, I think my memories are those early days when we weren't worth a darn. The move itself, I remember, Jim, on the night of the move in Baltimore, we've chronicled that. It's, I go back with that. I remember it was like yesterday. We got here. We weren't very good. And then we kind of got, I remember having to take over as head coach in 91. And then our relationship was GM and coach. And we met every single day. I mean, we talked about game plans. We talked about dealing with his father at the time. I mean, we talked about, all kinds of different things. And, and then, we finally went on. And then, I had a memory that, when I was released here, and I don't think he wanted to do it, but the powers to be did. And I always remember when I left, I was in the room with him, and he gave me a horseshoe. He gave me an actual horseshoe, and he said, "Horseshoes forever." And then I was fortunate enough that he brought me back here in the twilight, in the autumn of my life, and allowed me to enjoy my second act here as a broadcaster. And I always remember when he talked to me about the job, and I said, well, what's going to be my expectation, and he said, just be Rick. That's all I'm going to ask you to do, and don't worry about anything else. So, over those 43 years, it's a lot of memories, a lot of great things. So many people have talked about, what he's meant to everybody. The philanthropy is well publicized, but so many things that he's done without any publicity to help people and teams and groups in this town. And, you forget for a moment, because of the great success that the Colts had in that great era, that this team could have easily been like the Rams and moved to, at one point and moved to Los Angeles. And if you think, you want to thank Jim for that. Like somebody said, thank his father for bringing him here, but thank Jimmy for keeping him here. And all you got to do is ask those people in St. Louis what it means to lose their team when you don't have an owner who's creative and loved it here and wanted to make it here. So, again, like I said, it's been a struggle. There was when I did the interview with him in August, which became my highlight of my year, when he would do that interview with me in the preseason, and sometimes it ended up good, sometimes it ended up getting him in a little trouble, but it was always fun for me and candid and unfiltered. But you knew that his mind was great, but he was ravaged, and there was an inevitability to this. But when the day actually comes, like yesterday, it's crushing, to tell you the truth, John.
So Rick Venturi on the life and his relationship with the late Jim Irsay, who passed away yesterday at the age of 65. And Rick joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline live at Dawson's on Maiden Speedway. More on that. And, of course, the Pacers in game number 1. And their win over the Knicks last night coming up in a minute. What was more impressive to you? And I guess I'll describe it as the evolution of Jim Irsay as what you mentioned. The way that he dealt with the fans and the community and the way he embraced that, or the way that he did coming up after his father and not wanting to make a similar path or take a similar path, how he evolved in the realm of football ownership. What was more impressive to you, and again, how he ended up evolving in both facets?
Well, two things can be true and possible at the same time, and they were. When you look at what he was able to do here as the owner, and one of the great things Jimmy did, and people forget this, is, when I was here and we were really struggling, Jimmy was he was the CEO. He ran the day-to-day operation. And actually, when he took over ownership, I just assumed that he would go back and do that again. And probably one of his greatest moves was putting that ego aside and realizing it would be better to surround himself with great football people, which nobody did it better. When you look at that era from 99 with the, from Peyton through Andrew, from like 99 to like 2018, they had the fourth best. You'll have to check this, but I think it's the fourth best winning percentage in all of football. In those days, winning divisions were just they were a given. They weren't something you strive for. That was like baseline. That era is so good. It's absolutely unbelievable. And when you look at him, when you look at the brilliance, because what does an owner, what does the boss do? He surrounded himself with great people. There's Hall of Famers from top to bottom, from GM to quarterback to tackles to running backs to receivers, to defensive ends, all critical guys, to head football coach. The Colts. It just seems like there's a Hall of Famer every year from that era, and you have to give him a lot of credit. And then, his attachment to Indianapolis, I guess. And maybe he did learn that from his father. I do think that he learned a lot what not to do in those early days back in Baltimore, because he's been nothing but the greatest ambassador in the world for Indianapolis in this area.
Yeah, and I kind of described it as an evolution. That's
Yes.
the way that it was. It was almost like that the way that people say it, his father charted a path, and while he had respect for that, he wanted a different legacy. And, like anybody else, there comes with the pitfalls of it, maybe some more significant for him than others. But as far as truly caring about a place, you weren't going to find anybody, and I know this to be certain because you and I both understand what he did that was never publicized for everybody around here, which seems like everybody has an amazing story of, what happened when Jim Irsay reached out to them in their time of need or when they were struggling. And that is just something that is going to be incredibly missed around here because that's really who we are, I think, Rick, in essence. I mean, it's a small town feel. And coming from Baltimore, it seemed like that he did, the more and more he got into this position, understand that and adapt to it, and that became who he was.
There's no doubt about it. And, Jim has got great loyalties. Loyalty's number one to the community. But if you look at us, I mean, there's still guys from the Baltimore group that come to work at the complex every day. I mean, there's only a handful of us because there's not many then. I mean, and you talk about evolution, John. When we moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis, we moved on Bob Irsay's private plane and 3 station wagons. That was it. I mean, that was it. That's how small the operations are and to where they've evolved now, where you have probably 33 coaches alone, much less a building just full of, so many people. It's unbelievable. So, but Jim always stayed up with the times. There's no question about that. And he wanted to win terribly. That's why I've always argued when people have used the argument at times that, well, Jim Irsay doesn't want to spend the money. I've never, ever believed that one time in my life because even when we weren't any good, he would do anything to win. If anything, the knock on Jim in the beginning was if you went to Jim and you said, Jim, I've got to have this player. You got to get this player for me. The Jim would give away the farm to get that player. I mean, whatever you wanted and needed, he would go get it. And so I think he brought that always to the coaching staff. I think he was a great coaching staff owner. I don't think there's any question that he did that at all times. And he understood the game. Like here's an example. I used this with somebody today. If, I worked for 6 owners, okay? 6 owners. And of all the 6 owners, 5 out of the 6 always requested the TV copy of the game to watch, okay? The TV copy. Now, why is that? Because they want to watch the game and let the commentator tell them what is happening. The only guy that didn't, the only guy that watched the coach's copy just like we did, Jim Irsay, no doubt about that. So, he'd make the move, he'll make the trade, he'll get whatever you want to, and you never had to translate to him. If you said to Jim, if you walked in and said, Jim, I need a nickel really, really bad. With the other owners, you would have had to translate what that meant. He knew exactly what it meant right now at that moment. And, and he kept people accountable. I think we've lost that. I think as he battled health-wise, I think we lost a little bit of that strong accountability that he demanded. He demanded it even when we weren't very good, much less now. So that's going to be a key watching Carly and company going forward.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that's certainly you and I will have that conversation, I'm sure, on a later day. I think about it this way, too. It's almost like that he introduced to owners everywhere of major sports properties that, you know what, it's okay to kind of have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay to love music. It's okay to do stuff. It's okay to go out and perform concerts and, to have things like that. Not everything was all buttoned up and tight-assed with him. No. It was just different.
No, I mean, in that sense, if you look at him by traditional standards, he was eccentric. But in my world, growing up in the '60s, he was exactly what we lived for. This is a true story. When I first get to Baltimore, that first winter, I'm down in my meeting room, and I'm breaking down film. I'm breaking down college film for the draft, and I'm just grinding. And so, I would take a CD player, whatever we had back then, maybe it wasn't even CD, But I would bring down a player, and I would play music, and I'd blare it because you would hear it outside of the room, and I just blare it. And one day I was in there, and I was breaking something down, and I was killing some Rolling Stones in there. And all of a sudden I get a knock on the door, and there's Jim, and he walks in, and I mean, we talked music and football for the next hour. Seriously,
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just really amazing, and all the stuff, you know, the collection that he's done is just, I mean, it's one in a million. There's no doubt about it. He, you know, in terms of guys in that level, he is the Renaissance man. He was the Renaissance man.
That's no doubt about that, and will be incredibly missed. It is Rick Venturi. I immediately thought of you when I got the news that he had passed away, and thank you very much for coming on. I also, because, listen, with Jim, you know that there's going to be at some point some celebration of life. I mean, you know, because he loved to celebrate, and there's going to be a celebration of life. I want to give you the opportunity, because with the Pacers game 1 win last night, a player that was basically the reason as they got that game 1 win as a player, you talk to me all the time. You send me texts. You say, I love this guy. This dude's the ultimate badass. Hey, give the love for Rick Venturi for what you have to Aaron Nesmith, because you've been on board from the gate.
He would be my starting corner or safety. I guarantee you tomorrow, that guy. I mean, that show last night, and Halliburton deserves a ton of credit. I thought where Halliburton was great was in the second quarter when the Knicks were threatening to really pull away, and he had about 3 critical shots that kept it in there close. But Nesmith has done this before, too. The crash to the bucket in that last series against Cleveland on the free throw, one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. But the 3 threes last night, and the defensive, he's a monster. I mean, like I said, I'd take him. He'd be my starting corner or safety tomorrow.
It's Rick Venturi right there. Well, we keep in touch with the Pacers as they get to game 2 coming up on Friday night. But, hey, Rick, thank you so much for coming on. I know it's been a tough, not even 24 hours just yet, because of just how close you were with Jim. And let's stay in touch, and we'll do it again and talk a little football also coming up on the next time. But thank you so much for lending your time on a day like today.
And, John, thank you very much for letting me talk about it. I had to get it off a little bit today, so thank you very much.
You are the greatest, my good man. We'll talk again here shortly. It's Rick Venturi on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The passing of Jim Irsay, it has been an incredible existence in a lot of ways for Jim here at the age of 65 yesterday. I digress. Dawson's on Main Tavern Tour Stop, Heaven Hill Distillery. Brent Halverson is here. Brent, we're about 20-so minutes in. We got to hit a break. We'll come back with you. This is the month of May. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like the month of March or end of February, right? Not where we are right now, because it's great here, but outside it does. But this is May and a Tavern Tour Stop in Speedway.
Not a better place to be than right across from the track, John, and actually where your home is going to be for the next weekend too, right?
We went down there and checked it out today. Shout out to Austin Braun and Braun's Fun Time Campers down in the Coke Lot. It's set up and ready.
That's awesome, man. No, again, not a better place. You know, Dawson's been around for 20-plus years. Great spot just across the street from the track. You know, it's a pleasure to be here, honor to be here, and you know, a tough start of the show right there. You know, talking about Mr. Irsay's passing, but got a lot of great stuff now to talk about. We'll move forward and have some great cocktails, right? A great place to be, great cocktails, great food, great stuff.
How do we have to phrase it again as we go to a break here? Or what do we do?
Complimentary samples. Come up and see me. We'd love to get you one. Got some great options to choose from.
All right. Reflections on Jim Irsay all day long at 239-1070 with Brent and I. And thoughts on Game 1, because we're going to come at you hard with Game 1 stuff last night. It was incredible, just beyond what you eyeballed. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. Dustin DePurek's going to join us from NYC a little bit later on. I know Alexander Rossi's on the show. And also, much like Rick, somebody that knows Jim Irsay very well over the years. That can speak as probably as well as anybody regarding that is Mike Chappell coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Brent and I on the other side would love to see you. Dawson's on Main. We're in Speedway on a Thursday. I'm going to let you in how you can join us all weekend long, but I mean, hell, join us right now on Main in Speedway. We're at Dawson's Heaven Hill Distillery. Britt and I back with you on the other side. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Your pants is cool. Consider me Miles Davis.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Anunoby has one more foul shot.
Try to compose yourself when the Pacers hit this game winner.
All right. He made the second. It's a 2-point game. Bring it the link, fellas, and hit a three. 2-point game, 6 seconds to go. Halliburton driving. He's in the lane. He nearly lost it. He backs up and unloads a three. Oh! That did not happen! It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air, and it dropped gently through the net. The scoreboard shows 125-125. It's called a 2-point shot.
Guide that bad boy home, Mark Boyle, Eddie Gill, Pacers Radio last night on The Fan. It was absolutely incredible. I don't have any words. Now, the words I do have, there were so many different circumstances, and I know a lot of people probably haven't brought this up today, but shout out to Rick Carlisle, who absolutely coached circles around Thibodeau or Thibodeau, especially late. Because you know how important it was that Rick challenged when he did and when he utilized it compared to when Thibodeau did. Because there were a bunch of times when they had the opportunity to challenge and they couldn't do it. And you think about the Siakam foul that was overturned. That was a challenge by the Pacers. And then the Pacers finally got a stop up one when Andrew Nembhard deflected that pass, and then it glanced off of Brunson. Because remember, I think it was Zarba or Ben Taylor or whatever numb nut they had out there trying to blow whistles last whatever that whistled that Knicks ball. And they went back and looked at it, and it was fairly obvious after you looked at it again that it was Pacer ball. I thought Rick, oftentimes people want to say, well, look, Rick Carlisle's getting out coached. Here he goes with his rotations. He coached his stinking ass off last night, just as his players down the stretch played their ass off. I know that it takes Aaron Nesmith going absolutely nuclear late. I know that it takes Tyrese Halliburton having a guiding home from what was basically a brick. Shout out to Jim Irsay, R.I.P., with that angelic hand guiding that bad boy home. And I know normally when you celebrate in the choking fashion, as Halliburton does, normally in overtime when you realize you have to go there and you didn't just win it with that shot, it doesn't work out well. Man, this team, everybody, plays its ass off, and it seems to be charmed. Lord have mercy, let's run with that bad boy right now. Plays its ass off, and it's charmed. That's not just once. That's like the third time. They've won 5 road games in the postseason. Remember back in the day, you win 1 road game in the postseason and people give you some kind of damn trophy for it. It's incredible stuff. Brent Halverson rejoins right now. I know you were on was Tommy S. on that text string last night with Nal and who else? Who was all on that? Because I got a note from Nally earlier today that we had some conversations happening during that game last night.
There was a lot of text going back and forth, but wow, I was actually I was in Bloomington doing a bourbon dinner at Uptown Cafe, which is outstanding.
No, there's no doubt about that.
Got done right at 8 o'clock.
You and Mellencamp at the Uptown, huh?
We were hanging out there for a little while.
Cool.
Had to get out and say, Johnny, see you later,
Yeah.
But got on the road and listened to the first half on the drive back. Got back, stopped by Joe's, got the the tip-off of the second half, and then, wow. What an outstanding game. What an outstanding comeback. And you're right. There's no quit in this team. They just keep going.
Yeah.
Actually, I did see Tommy Sutton after the game. He popped by, and, it was just still electric. Every bar in town that had the game on, people were just going nuts. High-fiving, jumping, hugging. Just what a comeback. What a game. What was the stat? They're the one team out of 1,200 games being down 12 points under, a minute and a half.
Yeah.
That's unreal, right?
It's unreal. Yeah.
And then that shot that Halliburton took that actually ended up tying and was a 2-pointer instead of a 3 to win it. Look at that. That thing was up in the air, hit the back of the rim, went up in the air for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Came right down through it.
Right down through it.
And just electric,
It broke the heart. Ben Stiller and John Hamm, I felt so bad when they had to just walk ass out there with their tail between their legs. That was too bad.
I was a little concerned. I was the Tyrese giving the choke right after that.
And then you have to go back out and play it overtime.
Go back out. I'm like, man, you don't do that, and then come back out. But no, they came back out strong, and I mean, just an unbelievable performance from those guys, and just unreal. So, wow is all I can say. And then it's nice to, like you said, go in and steal a game in New York.
That was thievery right there. There's no doubt. Yeah,
that was larceny at its finest, right?
They have lost. They have won, I should say, 5 games on the road in the postseason. That's absolutely absurd. And all these dumbasses out there that suggest, well, they were playing against teams that didn't have their guy. You got to win 5 games on the road, numbnuts. What the hell?
Yeah,
that is incredible.
I mean, that's so huge for our city, and kind of bittersweet on a sad day yesterday with Mr. Irsay, but great way to kind of wrap up that day and look forward to the game tomorrow night, and then back in Indy on next to Mr. Sutton's.
Tommy S. We're unbeaten sitting at the game together. Tommy S. and I right there of Coach's Tavern.
Are you 1-0?
Yeah. No.
Oh, 2-0.
I think like 3. No, 3.
Oh.
3. Tommy did leave with that Milwaukee game. He was mad about that. And I stayed, but only because I was going to send something out on X really nasty, and then the Pacers came back and won, and I had to delete it. Tommy SF, we're unbeaten together. Now you and I are 0-1.
Oh my God, we were 0-1.
We went to the Milwaukee game 3, and that was
Cleveland, right?
Yeah, that was awful. Does this whole thing seem charmed to you like it does to me? It just seems charmed. You do like charmed, like you've got good fortune going on. I mean, this blank just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Listen, these guys are tough. As I mentioned earlier, they roll up with their nads in a dump truck. They do, and they never give up, and that's what you love. They're team-oriented. That's another thing that you love. But, man, they're also, whatever reason, they got good fortune riding on their side right now.
I mean, look at just the performance of how deep they go, right? That's the thing. I mean, Neesmith, 8 of 9 threes and hitting clutch ones. I mean – and
those late shots he made with the corner 3 when they were down 4. And remember, that's when Rick, and I thought Rick coached really as good as you could last night because he subbed out Miles in that overtime. Miles had missed a shot, and then Miles had fumbled the ball. Miles did go down and block Brunson, which was important, kept the game at 4 instead of 6. They go back the other direction, corner 3 by Nembhard. And then at the next stoppage, Miles gets subbed out by Obi Toppin, and that turned out to be great as well.
Absolutely.
Because Obi was tremendous, and especially with the way he finished off the game.
Oh, yeah, in overtime.
And Brett, we talk about this all the time. That's the definition. They are the absolute definition of a team.
Yeah.
So everybody around here used to talk about the NBA as being, it's all individual. I like the team sport, the team aspect of it, high school and college. My ass, there is no greater description of team and teamwork in basketball than what you see with the blue and gold.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you look at the box score, just checking it out. I mean, just the depth that it goes through, right? I mean, Shepard even coming in late. He didn't score any points.
He gets a defensive ball. Well, I will say this. He swung the ball out, and found Neesmith for that 3.
Yep.
I mean, there's some skill in that.
Absolutely.
I mean, just because you throw a pass doesn't mean it's not skilled. I mean, he found the open guy, and for whatever reason, they left Neesmith open. So
yeah, Nembhard hitting some key shots late too. I mean, again, a full team effort. Just incredible to watch, and you can't ever count them out. I mean, it was kind of remnant of the the Reggie day back in the 90s. I mean, it's unreal, right? Like you just you think you got it, and then wow. I mean, they just come back and light you up, and what a tremendous game to start game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You're up 1-0. You can get another one there. Outstanding. Come back and let's wrap it up. Or you know what? Hey, we've got 2 games back here guaranteed.
They're still good, man.
It's good, yeah.
They're
and Brunson,
still good.
I mean, look at Brunson, 43 points.
They were beat all to hell at the end of the game, though.
Oh,
man.
They were?
They were.
That's the thing. That's where it's different with the way that the Pacers manage the game. Carlisle does.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, it's just those 5, maybe another 6, 7 that comes in there. Pacers, they spread it all out. They get everybody, they're rested. Brunson looks like he's about ready just to die at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But he still put up 43. I mean, you got to be able to contain him.
But he also airballed that final 3.
He did airball that final 3.
And then Karl-Anthony Towns had, 35, and he almost airballed that final 3. It barely caught a little iron there. So, yeah, we had some tire legs you saw on that Knicks side. That's what the Pacers do.
Absolutely right.
I mean, that's what they do. That's why I was an advocate after last season to run it back in that fashion. And I had to face a lot of dialogue of people telling me, well, the timelines don't match or all this dorky, nerdery crap that I didn't want to hear, because you could see how well these guys work together.
Oh, yeah.
And how well they play with their depth. And I'll bring this up. And Patrick Beverley, everybody hates him around here, but he was accurate, much like I have been about this. That is a level of physicality that maybe you don't gauge, but it is physicality. It may not be like the Knicks or the Pistons in the 80s, but it is physicality, and it wears the other team down. And let me tell you this, it is always good to have good fortune on your side, too.
Absolutely right.
When you have Lady Luck riding shotgun with you, buddy, let me tell you how that is.
Absolutely.
Because I don't really know. You'd have to tell me, because, hell, I don't know. I mean, look at my life is in shambles. Lady Luck has forgotten to jump in and ride shotgun with me right here. Hey, we're at Dawson's on Main and Speedway. This is a Tavern Tour stop for the month of May. What do we got working, Brent?
Well, we got, again, great establishment, been here 20-plus years. We're going to have Tony join us here in a little while, talk about Dawson's and what they've been doing. And it is kind of the big day before their huge weekend, right? I mean, look what's coming in this Sunday. We've got the Indianapolis 500. It's been race month all month leading up to this. Sunday's going to be tremendous, right? We've got the race going early, and then we got the Pacer game.
Yes.
So the racers and the Pacers, and then I'll tell you, right after the race, get down to Coach's Tavern early, because it's going to be packed and rocking for
I've been with Tommy. Tommy S. and I have ridden together like 3 different times right now, too. So. And he notices I don't eat, but I do drink a lot at his place.
Well, there's something to be said about that, John, and we do appreciate
I sound like a
support.
Nickelback song. All I do is drink and I don't eat.
Cottage cheese and Larson.
Is that a Nickelback song? Hey, by the way, too, cottage cheese on the menu. I saw that. Cottage cheese is repping at Dawson's on Main right here. This is a great place. How long has this been the staple here in Speedway on Main?
I want to say 2006, I think, is when it opened. So I think this is the 20th year. So, again, great staple, and look what's happening around it, right? It's only Speedway's growing and getting bigger, and just a great, outstanding spot. So, come on out, join us. We've got a lot of people in town here, so find your way back. We're out on the patio. You'll see us walking in. And we'd love to get you a cocktail to enjoy.
Yeah, Ross and Alyssa are outside. They're saying that there's no seats in there right now. We got to find them a seat. There are P1s right here.
There's spots. We got spots. We'll make
Brent, thank you for the supplies. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I get so sick and tired of having to follow orders from jackasses, so I'm going to show it. So you brought me some supplies for the Bronze Fun Time campers right here.
Absolutely. You're going to have stay hydrated, John. You don't eat, so
I'm savvy.
Cottage cheese, a lot of larceny.
I'm very savvy.
You got some Deep Eddy in there. You got some, I put some 50 mLs in there for you, so easy pocket access to get into the race.
Well, here's how else I'm savvy, too, is because Dan Pantos is going to run the board for me, and in case I just get completely outside my mind on Saturday night, he can take over and do it. So that's why.
So you're a live takeover, right?
Yep, I'm in the Coke lot. We've got the RV set up out there. Thank you to Austin Braun, Braun's Fun Time Campers. We did that a little bit earlier today. We are strategically placed in a spot where I'm assuming people are going to walk by. Some guy walked up and said, man, you don't park next to me if you're going to have 1,000 people here, because he listened to the show. And I said, well, I may be exaggerating just a little bit. I said I have about 50 Coke lot bracelets, but I may be exaggerating a little bit. But we're going to have a good-ass time.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a little chilly out there.
That'd be all right.
Is this the month of March? Is that right?
Yes,
the month of March weather.
This weather.
Hey, it's not going to be bad. I mean, it's 60 during the day. That's perfect. Good racing weather, and you're going to keep everybody warm Saturday night on the JMV Takeover.
Shout out to my man Bart Fisher, who's over there at the corner as well. LD Smith Plumbing. I think I'm going to give him a quick shout coming up in just a minute too. Lance, I know, has been a little ill, but Lance is a big-time Pacer fan. Brent, we'll get back to that coming up in a minute too, right?
Absolutely.
Pacers, game number 1. We'll get you set for game number 2 tomorrow night. We're at Dawson's on Main. We're in Speedway. This is a Tavern Tour stop with Heaven Hill Distillery. You and I on the other side at 239-1070. Look at Ross and Alicia right there. We've got to get them some cocktail samples. Should I say samples?
Taken care of, samples.
How do I say that again?
You just say samples. Complimentary samples.
Complimentary samples for our good friends right there. Dawson's on Main, 109th running of the greatest spectacle in racing. We've got the Pacers game 2 tomorrow night. And, of course, we still talk up the significance of the passing of Jim Irsay, and thanks to Rick Venturi for being a part of the show early on. Podcast 1075thefan.com. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, 93.5, 1075 The Fan.
was wearing sweatpants is really embarrassing, so this song goes out to him.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Baseline inbound, far side front court. It'll be Halliburton lobbing it outside to Toppin. Toppin played by Towns. Bounces once, hands it off to Neesmith. Neesmith working the left sideline, lets a three-pointer go, and he connects from out on the left side. He's got 16. The New York lead is at 11 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left.
Mike Boyle, Pacers radio last night on the Fan. My mom loves Obi. My mom called last night saying, you know how good Obi was? You know how great? Obi was so good. I know. I watched last night. Obi was really, really good. And I thought that was, again, some exceptional coaching from Rick Carlisle late last night in subbing Miles out and putting Obi in, because as we saw, that worked out. Pacers winning game number 1, game number 2 coming up tomorrow night. The passing of Jim Irsay with Rick Venturi. That is a must-listen. If you missed it earlier, the podcast, 1075thefan.com. Dawson's on Main. We're in Speedway. Brent Halverson is with us. Heaven Hill Distillery. Brent, it's great to have you.
Happy month of May. Race coming up. Pacers after a big W. What a good time to be alive in Indianapolis.
I love this place right here. Is Chris coming out here?
Chris is not. He's doing some big catering events. So,
okay, who's coming out here?
His partner Tony.
I love Tony too. I saw Tony a little bit earlier.
He's
Tony's going to come out.
I think he's going to come out about 4:30 or so. I think.
Cool.
Is
Okay.
The timeline. We'll
I tell you what. Hey James, what time do we have open here? If I can do Tony, I don't have it in front of me. Let me know.
4 o'clock is open.
Have Tony come out here after 4. We'll do that too.
I'll get him out this next break.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work well. Did I hear correctly that Tommy S., who's sitting to your right now, I'm at Tommy S.'s place, Coach's Tavern, on Tuesday before Game 4?
That is correct. We just put that together today with Zinc Distributing.
Tommy S., I'm going to be an absolute mess.
I know, man. What are we going to do?
Well,
maybe I can score some tickets. You and I can go. And
Lord have mercy. Well, I think I'm going to Game 4.
Okay?
I think I'm going to Game 4. But my goodness, I'm going to be a mess, Tommy S.
I'll join you, Tommy, if you need a
yeah, we got
to go with.
I think we all have to go.
Look at this sweatshirt though. That is awesome, isn't it?
Well, I know it's got the Grateful Dead look right there.
Still your face like we stole that game last
That's
night.
right.
Exactly right.
That's awesome.
All right, hey Adam, we're going to leave with you on the other side. We'll get Tony here coming up in a minute too. We're at Dawson's on Main. We're in Speedway. R.I.P. Jim Irsay and Rick Venturi, as eloquent as can be described in the life and his friendship and working with Jim Irsay. You will not want to miss that. The podcast at 1075thefan.com. Dawson's on Main. We're in Speedway. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Near side hash mark. 20. The clock, by the way, reset to 20 seconds. Nemhart will play it in, and he'll get it to Toppin, who hands it back to Nemhart. Nemhart flips it back to Toppin, in on the right side with a two-hand slam. The lead is 3 with 15 and 3/10 seconds to play.
Mark Boyle, Eddie Gill, Pacers Radio, Game 1, a winner for the Pacers last night. Dawson's on Main in Speedway. If you're watching via the AAA Membership Lounge YouTube Live, Emma Cooper made cookies. It's funny, and Brent, you know this because you went to Game 3 of the Milwaukee series, and it wasn't a fun game at all. But we sat behind Emma and her sister Anna. Her dad's a big listener to the show. And they make baked goods.
Look at those. Those are
and
beautiful.
You have cookies right here. Now, Emma, I want to make sure I get this right, okay? It is Coop Company, correct? I will tell everybody how to do this. These are awesome. You know how great these look?
Those look great. They
That
really do.
is well done. Shout out to Emma Cooper and her sister Anna. Again, they sit in front of us back in the Milwaukee series in Game 3. Actually, even before that, I think we were at a game together, too, even prior to that. But these are awesome cookies. Thank you very much. If you would like one, I have some right here as well. Dev, you want to go ahead and give that bad boy a try right there? That's our engineer. Emma, thank you very much. One more time, where do we go to find those?
Instagram, I believe it's
Yep. Coopco on Instagram is where you go and find them. Or I will say this, you get a hold of me on social media, I'll let you know how to find it. But these are awesome. Great job. Thank you very much, Emma. Tell your dad we said hello to, and your sister, too. They are big-time Pacer fans. And, again, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. That is what they brought for us today at Dawson's on Main in Speedway. Thank you, Emma. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for coming out as well. I see Dave the King Wilson over there because he's got a place across the street. We'll talk with him coming up. I believe we got Big T Hill right here, right? Ready to rock, don't we, Brent Holverson?
do.
Hour number 2 of this Tavern Tour stop.
The man of the hour, the man of the month of May, and the man of Dawson's, one of. Chris is out working a big event, Tony was just telling me. But, Tony, welcome. And
he got the short straw today, didn't he, man?
I did.
You got the big, you got the large. You're good.
Well, Chris
you got the short one.
Chris is down at Delara doing the last row party. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And with Penske, that made it a pretty big.
I guess you're right. You do have Will Power and Joseph New, two-time defending champion down there, so that is a big deal.
He was telling me the number kind of grew, doubled, and kept going once the Penske team got back there on the back row, so last row. So, again, thanks for having us out, my man. 20 years coming up here, right?
20 years, June 17th, and it's been a crazy ride for sure.
That's awesome. So this year in the heat of it, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us here, but month of May for you, I mean, it's just nonstop, isn't it?
It is. I mean, a day like today, Chris probably shouldn't have taken that last row party, but you hear me, brother.
Do you have salmon here?
Oh, we do. Yeah, my buddy.
Hey, T Hill.
My buddy.
T Hill. That's going to be my take home tonight.
Well, he flies it in from Alaska, and he's a college buddy, and it's coho. We're the only restaurant in the city that serves coho.
Oh wow! I mean, your food is awesome.
I'm all about coho, brother. Let me tell you that. I don't know what it means, but it sounds awesome.
Man, you look good.
Thank you, man. I
haven't seen you in a while.
Well, it's because of salmon and cottage cheese. I was going to ask you this: who delivers your cottage cheese?
Piazza.
I'm going to go for it.
It's
I'm a
good.
big cottage cheese dude right here.
Do you like the big curd or the little curd?
I'll do the big curd or the little curd. Either one.
Just any kind of a curd.
Yeah, any kind of a curd right there. The big curd goes like $1.20 in calories. I think the little curd goes like 80. So
look at you with the calorie intake.
I've got it memorized at this point right here. So
that's funny.
I am big. Well, what else you got on the menu?
We're doing there's a company in Indianapolis called I'm losing my mind here. We're doing brat burgers. These brat burgers from Indy. The guy does his own bacon. God, I can't remember the name of it. I'm losing my mind.
Well, join the club.
He's gonna shoot me. But anyway, we got a lot of our tenderloins are selling off the shelves, and our burgers are a special blend, and about our salmon. So
yeah,
our steaks are really good too. I mean, you just can't go wrong.
Well, I'm getting some take home here later on tonight. There's no doubt about that, and this weekend's huge for you guys too, right?
It is. It's our Super Bowl. I mean, we had a couple of weeks without phones. I think you probably heard about that, but we got it all fixed.
I did hear about that. So what happened?
Well,
there?
AT&T and Comcast were fighting over. We'd been with Comcast for 20 years, and I don't think they liked us leaving after 20 years.
Yeah.
And they kind of held our number hostage, and so we literally had no phones for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it was a tough couple of weeks.
How are they allowed to do that?
That's crazy they can do that. I thought once you have to release it, right? I mean, just release it back.
Well, they made it seem so simple. AT&T said it was a matter of just a quick port, and it wasn't quite so simple.
I read about that. So there was a lot of problematic dialogue happening.
Well, we knew Angela Ganote, and she really hooked us up pretty good. So.
I love Ganote, by the way.
She's a good one, man.
Yeah, she is a good one. All right, what are your hours, too? You got any weekend hours? This weekend, is it like different from what your normal hours are?
No, I mean, we stay open till, our kitchen stays open till 10, and the bar stays open till the bartenders get sick of seeing everybody. And that's kind of what it is, and it's usually pretty late, but...
So is it a lot later, of course, this weekend? What's going on around here?
Oh, my goodness. My kitchen staff on Sunday, it was that bump day, and at 8 o'clock we're supposed to close, and we had a line out the door at 8 o'clock, and they were like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But you got to capitalize.
You do.
Yeah, and when you're good, you're good. You want that coming in, right?
I was going to ask you this. Tomorrow's carb day, and we're going to be staked out over in Pagoda Plaza, but after... there is a concert going on here on Main, and our good friend Clayton Anderson is going to play, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to watch the Pacer game here. Pacer game's going to be live, local, and late-breaking game 2 in here, right?
Absolutely.
Can you carve out some space for me tomorrow here?
I'll make a plan,
because I've got an RV down in the Coke lot,
he's your neighbor here for the next 3 days. He's living in the Coke lot.
I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. Some of my neighbors already asked. They said, hey, we were out there staking out a spot, and they go, yeah, we've heard you talk about this. Are you really going to have 1,000 people here? Because that may be a lot.
Did you say no? 350,000.
Yeah,
They're all
I
coming
know.
by.
I know.
On.
Well, we all have to have a Coke lot wristband, which I have no idea how that happens. But we're going to be down there doing the JMV Takeover on Saturday night, the Oliver Crest Music Show, and it should be one hell of a blast. I mean, it really should. But tomorrow night, I want to watch the Pacer game here, if that's okay with you guys.
How many?
Good question. I don't know.
50, 350,000.
Well, I'm kind of like the Pied Piper. People just join me, and we just like go along. And
hey, because you're a Reds fan, now my brother might box you out, but because you're a Reds fan, and Danny Gatlin would kill me if I didn't give you a seat. So
let me tell you this, and the Reds are completely opposite of the Pacers, and here's why: because the Reds, once they get down, they're done.
Yeah.
Once the Pacers get down, you can normally count on them coming back and getting it done as they did last night. I mean, think about that. Down 14 with 2.5 minutes to go.
That was awesome.
Twice in the 2 series prior, down 7 with, 40 seconds to go. This has been an absolutely amazing run with a relentless group.
It absolutely has. I mean, it's unprecedented. Again, the energy that they bring, they're always in it. You can't count them out. Just amazing to watch. Were you here last night, Tony?
I was at home watching it, and my electricity went out, so I'm watching it on my phone. And my brother and my buddy are texting me, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" But they watched it. They all watched it live here, and Andy stayed open late just so we could watch overtime here. So.
Do you have Comcast at home?
No.
Did they dial your number and be like, "All right, this is him. Let's screw with this TV"?
No, electricity went out in Brownsburg and Pittsburgh.
What the hell was going on in Hendricks County, man?
I don't know, dude. I have no idea.
Man.
Wow.
Somebody, they get the hamster off the wheel over there or what? Hendricks County, man. You got to be better than that, don't you? Can't. So electricity went out during the end of the Pacer game?
No, it was during the start of the game, and it finally came on about, I think, the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Well, that was the one you wanted to watch.
And
But
I bet that
quarter.
pissed people off over there, man.
I can't
A lot
imagine.
of people missed that game, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That is not good. All right, give us your hours here, and you got some room for us to come in here tomorrow night.
Yep.
I'm going to go sing Friends in Low Places on stage with Clayton tomorrow.
Are you really?
I know about 3 words. What, blame it
Friends
on my
in
roots. I showed up in moods and ruined your black tie affair.
Look at that, you got it all.
And then
That's
I'm
it.
done. Thanks, Scott. Great to meet you, buddy. Great to meet you, Scott. Thank you, buddy. That's about all I know.
That's how you're killing it right now.
I
man.
know.
That's
I'm
awesome.
all about it. But then we're going to come over here and watch game number 2.
Well, that's the seat you're going to have right there, so you can have two
Look at
TVs looking at it.
There you go. And tell everybody about this weekend coming up, too.
It's going to be crazy. We're going to obviously be busy the next couple of days, but race day, we open at 3 o'clock and close at 8. About 8 o'clock, the entire staff, after the month, enough is enough, and that's it, you know. So 8 o'clock, we shut it down, and hopefully we have a safe, dry race.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always key right there. Anything else coming up down the road that you guys have going on, or just back to normal?
No, we're catering a lot. We love to cater. If you've got a wedding or if you've got a graduation or something like that, give us a call. A lot of people didn't realize we cater, but we do a ton of business that way.
That's awesome.
We've got the same staff, same bartenders, Ron, those guys, Will, and Andy. We've had those guys for 20 years, and 20 years January or June 17th, and we're pretty excited.
It's amazing what Main Street looked like decades ago compared to what it looks like right now.
And where it's
it's unrecognizable.
I mean, it's still the growth that's happening right over back here, right? I mean, it's just it's awesome. So, and
brother, you could shoot a gun down the street.
You
when
could,
you first
man.
Got here, and nobody would know.
Yeah. I'm sure the late Robin Miller probably did a couple of different times. Shoot a gun down there. One of the last times I was here, I was at the different station, and it was on carb day because they wouldn't allow me in because we didn't have the rights to the race at that station. And me and I think Adam Ritz at the time and Robin Miller were on the air, and A.J. Foyt walked in, and he asked me to do a shot off some chick's chest or something.
Did you do it?
I heard
AJ Foyt asked me to do it. So
I heard a little bit about that night. I'm telling you.
Seriously, that's when the Stone Temple Pilots played Carb Day, and it was raining. It was legendary.
Yeah, that was
absolutely
a great
legendary.
Night.
So I told Adam, I said, man, don't put this on video here, brother. Which please, but it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But my grandparents lived up here starting in 1985, and I remember what Main Street looked like then, and it is unrecognizable for the good now. I mean, it really is.
It really is.
You guys have had a lot to do with that too. I mean, look what's coming in, and then it's kind of the new hotspot, right? So and you guys. Kind of the trailblazers of 20 years ago started that back, and that's again we like to say with this Evan Williams Tavern Tour, we like to find tried and true spots, and you guys have created that, Tony.
That's
and
I appreciate that.
Hats off to you.
We were definitely the guinea pig, and it's worked pretty good.
You were kind of the first. Well, there was a pharmacy right here. Was there a pharmacy? Was it here?
Well, this used to be a Beck's drugstore.
Yeah, this was it. Yeah, okay, that was it.
Long time ago.
Yeah. That was it.
The drivers used to come in and get a burger. A little old lady used to flip burgers and give them pops. They didn't drink a lot back then. They had, sodas and soda fountains and things like that.
Well, I mean, you think about it, those are the stories of legend here. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Woven in the Fabric people love this race so much. Are stories just like that.
Well, the first time I came in here, it was the second year. A.J. Foyt walks in. He looks at our menu, and my brother comes back to the kitchen. I'm back in the kitchen, and he says, "Tony, you're not gonna believe who's here." And A.J. Foyt's been my hero since I was a little kid, and I come out here, and he goes, "Hey, all you got is a 12-ounce ribeye. You think you can cut me a 16?" And I'm like, yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I
can. So we did it.
It's T. Hill right there. Dawson's on Main, so you're okay if we come in here tomorrow and watch Pacers game number 2?
Absolutely.
Right on. I can't wait. And we'll be staked out of the Coke lot all weekend long and the Bronze Fun Time Campers. And Dawson's on Main, Brent, we know this to be true. It's just an awesome place. Great establishment, and we're proud to be here for the Tavern Tour.
Very proud to be here, especially the Thursday before, the day before Carb Day, and then race a couple days down the road. And what you guys have added here out on the patio, too, with the weather today, our January, February, March weather that we're having right here, keeps it nice and warm. So another great addition you guys have done, Tony.
I appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you, my friend.
End of the show. Come back, okay?
All right.
Good luck and enjoy the rest
T.
of
Hill's in the
weekend.
house
Thanks,
right there.
guys.
I see J-Law over there as well. I also see Dave the King Wilson. I want Dave to sit down here in just a second as well. And we'll recap the day. Go ahead, Dave. Come on over here really quick. I'm going to get Dave the King Wilson over here for a second, who's right across the street. I'll explain coming up in a minute. Rick Venturi joined us earlier with his thoughts on the passing of Jim Irsay. If you missed any of that, 1075thefan.com. There's nobody around here that could speak more eloquently as Rick did, as both a friend and as a coach, as a confidant in football with the late Jim Irsay as Rick Venturi. Again, that podcast, 1075thefan.com. And James, go ahead and load up some phones here at 239-1070. I do want to get to the Pacer calls from Game 1 last night. Dustin DePurax at NYC, he's going to join us coming up in about 10 minutes. Meantime, joining us now is our good friend Dave the King Wilson. Pat Sullivan would be very happy that you're joining us on this Thursday.
Sure.
I don't know if you've ever met Brent Halverson of Heaven Hill Distillery, but you should.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. It's a perfect time of year here in my old neck of the woods. And yes, this was where Dawson's is now. This was a drugstore, and they had a lunch counter there. And my mom was raised with her brother and sister down here on 15th Street at 4834. So I remember coming here as a little boy and seeing who was sitting at the lunch counter. And it was always so cool because you never knew who you were going to see. But Old Speedway and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the 500, this is my time of year.
That's awesome. And again, the growth that we were just talking about, pretty amazing probably for you to see, right? Coming down here and what's happening now.
Yeah, there was a long time when, as they were saying, you could shoot a gun down Main Street here and nothing would happen. But we're happy to be combining my two loves, being Santa and memorabilia from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And your place is right across the street here.
Right across Santa's Pit Stop Christmas Shopping Gifts. We're right across from Dawson's, next to the ice cream store. You know, with Big Joe helping me out, I had to get next to the ice cream store to keep Big Joe interested.
Hey, Dave, man, this place has just become such an awesome really place to hang out. I mean, everywhere for every different reason.
Most certainly, and we feel really lucky to be right where Dawson's is, because this is kind of the hubbub.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, there's a lot of great restaurants and a lot of great stores up and down Main Street here, but this is kind of the place with the most traffic. And where you walk out the door and boom, there we are.
That's awesome. It's a great spot to be at, yes.
Yeah,
so what do you have over there?
Well, we have Christmas all year long. We opened in November. We have Christmas all year long. But this time of year, I brought in a bunch of memorabilia. It's stuff that interests me, you know, pit badges, autographed pictures. We have black and white dishes and plates and flags and that kind of thing for people decorating. But I love selling the autographed pictures and the history of the 500. And I've got some old things that are signed by, you know, Tony Holman and Peter DiPaolo, and I got an Eddie Rickenbacker autograph and a Wilbur Shaw autograph and that sort of thing. And that's just, I love talking to people about when they come in. We've had people from Scotland in there this morning.
Well, you got a bunch of people from Sweden out here on the street right now.
Right.
I'm assuming like Marcus Ericsson guys out here.
Yeah. But it's just great, and I'm involved with the Indianapolis 500 Old Timers, and we had our barbecue on Tuesday, and then last night we had the big banquet, and it was a thrill of a lifetime for me. I got to host a Q&A for 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
With Danny Sullivan, who won 40 years ago. Mario, who he passed a spin and win. Johnny Rutherford, Pancho Carter, and Johnny Parsons Jr.
That's great.
And it was just, you know, a dream come true. And those guys were all pros and a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
It was really cool.
It's Dave the King Wilson, Brent Halverson, JMV, Dawson's on Maiden Speedway. Again, recognizing the passing of Jim Irsay, Pacers game number 1. last night with just an incredible win. I did want to bring this up for both of you right here because it's a day like today or a week like this week where we so profoundly miss Robin Miller. I thought about this a number of times, and it's funny. Every time we've had this big story hit this week, I think about what would Robin be talking about right now. And his voice, his personality is just so profoundly missed, and this week would be perfect for him.
Yeah, he would. It's hard to say. I mean, he would be talking about all three and with an amazing amount of insight. You know, R was, he just, you know, he was involved with people. He didn't just sit in the media center. Now, he was in the media center, and believe me, when he was in the media center at the Speedway, it was a circus.
It was.
He was loaded up with all kinds of stuff and
candy
donuts
and donuts.
I mean, he was rolling. But he was out and walking and talking, and it's the same thing with the Colts and the Pacers and everything he covered. But motorsports was really his specialty, and, you know, I think he would really be jumping up and down on Roger's head, I think.
Yeah.
And at this point,
there's no question about
it. But you know, I got to.
He would have called for well prior the punishment that Roger handed out to his team. There's no doubt.
But you know, but you got to know this too. It's ever since Fred Flintstone raced Barney Rubble at the Bedrock Motor Speedway, they've been cheating. That's and you've heard the old saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right.
So, and the stories are legendary going through the years. But when somebody like Roger Penske, again, it does tend to taint the credibility. And I know R would have been all over that. And it would have been fun to go down to Charlie Brown's and eat a piece of pie and a tenderloin, or you know, over the working man's friend or any of his favorite haunts, and listen to him talk. But he would have been, all over it.
So Dave the King Wilson, Santa's Pit Stops right across the way.
Man. Come over, got souvenirs, got all kinds of stuff.
It's good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, JMV.
Normally I see you in November up at Sullivan Hardware and Garden. It's good to see you in a different spot right here.
I'll be here doing Santa every Saturday and Sunday, and then I'll be up at Pat's doing Santa up there. I love it. It's a treat.
That's great. Good to see you, Dave.
That's awesome.
Dave the King Wilson right there with us. Dawson's on Main. And that's our tavern tour stop. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you, Dave. Dave the King Wilson. Brent Halverson right here, too. Hey, reset while we're here, what we're doing, and the conversation we're having.
Well, again, Evan Williams Tavern Tour. This is our fourth year now doing the Tavern Tour?
I think it is the fourth year, yeah.
When we get out and we find these great establishments, been around for a while, this is one of them. And what we were just talking about with Tony, too, they kind of started everything here. So we're looking for that. We're going to be bouncing around every month, and we're fortunate to be here the month of May, right before the Indianapolis 500. Great spot here. As you can see, it's hopping right now, and it's going to be around the clock through Monday probably, and then after that too. So great food, great staff, great cocktails. Come on out, and if you're in the area, stop in and see us, and let's get a complimentary Heaven Hill cocktail for you.
Do you remember Fred Flintstone's, I guess, alter ego that participated in the Indy Miraculous 500 of the 1960s?
Man, I watched a lot of Flintstones in my...
Tommy S., do you remember?
Unfortunately, my memory's not as solid to pull that out.
I don't remember that. No, I was...
Do you guys remember the name Goggles Paisano? That was Fred Flintstone in the Indy Miraculous 500. Back in the early 1960s. Goggles Paisano.
I do not. I'm about to pull that up. I like old Fred Flintstone.
There were a lot of references regarding the Indy 500 over decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
In films and television. There's one in Platoon. You remember Kevin Dillon saying there's nothing like having, how should I put this? There's nothing like heeing and sheeing, maybe with the exception of the Indy 500.
I don't. And again,
Kevin Dillon, Platoon.
Your memory always
1986.
seems to precede yourself because you pull stuff out about 86. And
I think I'd rather have the heeing and sheeing, but yeah, the Indy 500 is really good. There's no doubt about that. Brett and Tommy S. is here We'll come back with Dustin DePurak. Game one. What in the world went down? My breakdown a little bit earlier continues with Dustin DePurak of the Star. That is coming up at the bottom of the hour. Alexander Rossi, Mike Chappell, all still to come. Dawson's on Main. This is a Tavern Tour stop the month of May. We're in Speedway. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Jenny, don't! David Letterman! Hi, David. I'm Grandpa. Don't!
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Foul line, Bridges bouncing to Towns, who lays it in left side.
The Pacers try to get a trap, and they let the Knicks loose, and Towns gets a free run to the rim.
Down to 36 seconds to go.
Wow.
Neesmith is a machine as he hits a three, catch and shoot from 35 feet up top. He's made 7 of his 8 three-point shots. The New York lead is down to 5.
Hey, it's Mark Boyle, Eddie Gill, Pacers Radio last night. Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals. Pacers a winner. Game 2 coming up tomorrow night. Dawson's on Main and Speedway. Tavern Tour stop. Brent Halverson, Tommy S. We've got Alexander Rossi coming up on the inbound. Mike Chappell with more on the passing of Jim Irsay. If you missed Rick Venturi, just incredible a little bit earlier. That podcast at 1075thefan.com. Hey, Carb Days tomorrow. Pagoda Plaza. We'll see you out there, too. If you're a veteran, come by because Brett Michaels had asked me on the show yesterday to bring a veteran and the veteran's family out backstage at Carb Day and the concert so he can bring that veteran and the family up on stage. So we'll try to do that coming up tomorrow as well. Bronze Fun Time Camp. Are you leaving? Hold on one second. Bronze Fun Time Campers. And shout out to Austin who set that up in the Coke lot. We are good to go coming up this weekend as well with Bronze. I will tell you where exactly we are. The JMV takeover happens coming up on Saturday night. Bronze Fun Time Campers on Pendleton Pike. We are located basically, you're off of 30th Street. You enter, and we are, I want to say 1 block up inside the Coke Lot campground right there. You'll easily be able to see us. The Twin Peaks ladies will be out there with us on Saturday night. It is going to be an absolute blast. I hope to see you there. With Bronze Fun Time Campers in the Coke Lot for the JMV takeover on Saturday night. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he's in NYC. Game 2 tomorrow night, Madison Square Garden. Pacers up a game in the best of 7 Eastern Conference Finals with an improbable win last night, down 14 with about 2.5 remaining. They get the win in overtime. Dustin DePurak of the Star joins us now. I have stated this, I've never seen anything like that. Did anything occur to you, descriptively speaking, that you have seen before that would equate to what you witnessed?
No, I mean, the 2 previous games they had comebacks with are the closest thing that I can think to it, but that's it. I mean, that's just, and it's just, I mean, this was even more insane. I mean, one guy hit 6 threes in 5 minutes is wild, and it's, I mean, like, obviously Aaron Neesmith is a good shooter, but if he's not, he's not Steph Curry. Basically, he's not a guy that goes out and just hunts them all game, and is a guy that in that situation you're just thinking, well, put the ball in his hands and have him take as many threes as he possibly can. But I mean, he just hit a bender at the absolute right time. The Knicks just sort of fell apart in that stretch, and again, the Knicks were in total control and lose it completely. I can't think of one that approximates it. I mean, obviously you've seen some crazy comebacks in your day, and like kind of broader ones, and you've seen the Red Sox come back from down 3-0, and that's kind of nuts. But in that tight of a window in a basketball game, I can't think of anything close to it.
Hey, listen, there are a lot of things. You think about determination, and you're coming back from situations where you lose. How difficult do you think this is going to be for the Knicks to come back from? Because this is not your average loss. It isn't. It's one, Dustin, that notoriously should leave a mark. So what do you think the response is going to be tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean they're going to come out fighting, and they're, I mean, like I think Pacers already said, like, they expect to get a punch. But I think what's exhausting about this Pacers team is that you feel like you can't kill them. I think that's just as much as it's like if you're the Knicks, you feel like, man, you really screwed it up. You're also looking at this Pacers team, and you see that they've done 3 of these. Like, that's not an accident. Like that's not a situation of, like, I mean, it's you, it's not them. I'm sorry, it's them, it's not you, I guess is the point. If you're the Pacers, it's you. Like, you are the team that comes back from this, and there's a reason why you're built that way. And if you're the Knicks, you're thinking like if 14 points in 2.5 minutes isn't enough, what is? what's it going to take to feel comfortable? And the answer is it's going to be a lot. Like, you have to overwhelm this team to think you're going to beat them. And you have to do everything right, because they're just going to keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And they're just not done. They're just never finished. And like, until it reads all zeros, they can come back and get you. They can exhaust you. Like, when you start to feel like you're getting tired, it's almost like you have to you're going to have a sinking feeling. You realize like they're getting into your legs. So I think, I don't think they're going to come out and be, but that place is not going to be as electric as it was in game one. I mean, there is going to be a sense of like, wow, I can't believe this really happened to us. And, can they do this again? It's going to create a really tough scenario for those guys, going forward. But also there's the sense of no matter how big of a lead they have, they won't believe that they're done until it's over.
Hey, Dustin, was Rick Carlisle, to what you saw coaching up, as good to you as he was to me? Because it seemed like every lever that he pulled ended up working out, whether it's, topping in for Miles or, making sure you challenge what you feel certain that would be overturned or upheld or whatever. I thought that as much as people like to complain around here for rotations and why is he doing this and we got Carlisle, I don't happen to agree with that. I thought that he coached rings around Thibodeau last night.
Oh, he certainly did. No, I mean, I think it's funny because like I don't always pick it up in real time, but like I'll have somebody in my mentions being like, "Can you believe he did this? Why is Rick Carlisle doing this? You have to ask him about this post game." And I'm like, I might, but how about you wait to see if it works first, before you freak out about it? Because I mean, like, he puts Ben Shepherd in and everybody just loses it. Like, instantaneously, every time Ben Shepherd checks in the game, people are like, what is he throwing this? Why on earth was Ben Shepherd have any minutes in this game? And Ben Shepherd was plus 14. Ben Shepherd was plus 14 in that game. That was one of the first things that Rick Carlisle said. Basically, I asked him about Aaron Nesmith. He said, what really helped Aaron Nesmith? Ben Shepherd, came in, played max effort 7 minutes, and it gave Nesmith some time to kind of relax a little bit, and that got his legs back. And he was able to step into some of those threes and really have some push there. I didn't even ask about Shepherd. That's what Rick just brought up. So little stuff like that, it's like, okay, why is he not doing this now? Why is he not doing this now? But then you eventually see the payoff. And I think that's just the one thing that you have to, if you're a Pacers fan, you have to just trust about Carlisle. Like, he has a longer game than you're thinking. And, like, again, just the fact that he's played as many guys as he had, digs further into rotations, leaves those bench guys in longer than you think he should. Well, there's a reason for that. He's creating this. Like, it has been a long game all year, creating this wear-down effect, creating starters that are fresh, creating guys that can defend 94 feet and do it all game long and wear you down and exhaust you over the course of 48 minutes and then over the course of 7 games. Like, there's been a plan here. There's been an architecture to it. And so it's like, I get, I definitely had a lot of questions at the time about what is he doing? Especially I think after I think it was a game 2 against Cleveland. I'm like, okay, well, why is he going an all-sub lineup here at the end of 3 quarters? This seems like you're kind of giving the game away. But he played, the starters the last 12 minutes, and that changes that game. And so he's made so many moves like that you're like, okay, this looks dumb right now. Why would a guy that's won this many games do that? Well, he probably has an answer. And you're going to see it if you hang in there. Don't freak out, and just wait to see what the method behind the madness was, because there are a lot of times there is something to it.
Dustin DePirac of the Star covers the Pacers. He's in NYC. Game 2 tomorrow night. You can hear it right here on The Fan. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Why don't we ever discuss the transition or maybe even evolution that Rick Carlisle has made with, kind of a defensive lean and angle at times to becoming a part of an offensive innovation team-wise that, let's just face it, the Pacers do what not many, if any, other teams in the NBA do and accomplish, without what is so-called multi-elite level stars right here. Why isn't more credit given for him making that transition, relying on those around him to make the right decisions than what we have seen?
I don't know. Someone's got to read my 4,000-word story on this from a couple days ago.
I'm excited about it. I'm all in on 4,000 words.
I just wrote an epic on that the other day. I mean, and Rick was I have to say, Rick was very gracious, made a point of getting a hold of me. He knew what kind of angle I was taking and wanted to see if I needed anything more. So I'd really appreciate him taking the time out to talk to me about that stuff and kind of break some things down and go over kind of the history of it and the timeline if you will, as to how he got to that point, and even stuff that he's done just over of the course of the past couple of years, kind of explaining how he made that evolution. No, certainly. I mean, I think it's, like really it changes in Dallas, and I think what he told me was that, and he even told me this last year, once he gets to that team in Dallas, and he's got Jason Kidd and he's got Jeff Nowitzki, and those guys had won prior to him. I mean, Avery Johnson, I had to remember that Dallas team and the narrative of that narrative arc of that team. But I mean, 2 years prior, they'd won 67 games and got beat by that really scrappy Golden State Warriors team with Monte Ellis and those guys in the first round. And Avery Johnson gets fired, but you have all these pieces, and so he was sort of expected to be the guy that takes them to the next level because he'd had good teams in Detroit and Indiana. And he's coaching this team and saying, Jason Kidd keeps looking at me for calls. Like, maybe this is dumb. Like, maybe he needs to be empowered more. He's 35. Kidd had been a 9-time All-Star by that point, something like that. How about I put give him the keys and let him go lead this team? Because why wouldn't I? He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And that changes that team. And 2 years later, they win a title. And so, sorry about that. You see offensive evolution with that group, and then you see this team that it's been space age at some point, especially last season when they scored more points than any team had in 40 years in the NBA. So yeah, I mean, he has had to do a lot of evolution and moving along, and I mean, I asked him about this, like what told you that you're not to be the type of guy that has a style of play that he always plays, and this is a Rick Carlisle team that just does this. He's like, I don't think that make any sense. You coach the team you have. You don't coach it. You don't coach to be, to make the impact that this is like a signature team, that this is how your team plays. It's like, no, it should be how these guys play. It should be how these guys develop. How do you make the most of the guys that you have? And this team has been more offensive oriented, but he's made them better on defense. But he maximized it. Again, Tyrese Halliburton, not the best defensive player in the world, but can be a magician with the ball in his hand. And in getting guys together and teaching them how to create kind of this ethos of just keeping the ball moving all the time until it finds the best possible shot. And that's the way he's coached. And it is impressive because, there is a real philosophy to it, but it's not just about saying my teams do this and that's what my teams do. It's saying, my team does what my team does, and whatever that happens to be based on the guys that I have, that's what it's going to be.
What are you thinking about Game 2 coming up tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, I would have. My initial thought was the Pacers were going to win this in 6, and they were going to lose 1 and 5. And if winning Game 1 in this and winning it in this circumstance, again, it really puts the Knicks on their heels. So I mean, I think they have a lot of momentum. I think the Knicks are having a hard time turning that around. I don't think the Pacers are going to come in there and just rip them by 30 or 40 or whatever, because the Knicks got way too much pride for that. They don't talk too good of a player. But I think they win tomorrow. And I think they get the series done faster than you think.
That's incredible stuff. I said this a little bit earlier, Dustin, in closing, that it's one thing. These guys roll up with balls as big as church bells, the way they hang in. Seriously. Mm-hmm. And I love the team aspect. And you know this. You and I have talked about this going back to last summer. I was all in on running this back. I just think these guys fit about as well as anybody fits. But it's also something to say about having good fortune on your side. And there were so many moments last night where you could tell that for whatever reason, good fortune, it was on the Pacers side. And I don't know if that comes with just, being a good group, being a cohesive group, playing solid basketball, whatever. But, man, good fortune's riding shotgun with them right now. You got to take full advantage of that.
Absolutely. I mean, you can make your own luck. You can only make so much of it. But, you can. You keep putting yourself in position, and eventually, things break your way. It seems like things break their way really quickly. But, again, I think that's part of that is the wear-down effect. These guys, you see teams make mistakes they don't normally make down the stretches of games because they're beat. They're exhausted. And I think that's what's happening is more mistakes come their way because they make teams make mistakes by just running them to death.
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, the level of physicality, we always think about the Knicks in the 90s and the Pistons in the 80s, but they're the most physical team in the NBA, and they do it by just wearing your ass out from end to end and with their depth. And that's their edge. That's their ultimate edge. Dustin DePurack of the Stars on the Andy Moore Automotive Group pylon. He's in NYC. Enjoy that game. Man, you are right now a part of a great deal of signature history with this Pacer team. That's got to feel really good, brother, man. Continue.
Trying to capture it as best I can. It's tough to put it all together some nights, but it's really unbelievable.
Hey, I'm gonna get after that 4,000 word article you have too. I can't wait.
Do that. You do that. I appreciate it, David.
Thanks,
man.
Dustin. I appreciate you.
Out there on IndyStar right now. Have a good one. Thanks.
You got Dustin DePirac of the Star. You can check out that 4,000-word essay is what it sounds on Rick Carlisle. And I'll give credit where credit is due because I always do. But Greg, our friend Greg on this show is the one that pointed out, he said, you know what, there was more of a defensive lean back in the day, and how this guy's making transition to being an offensive innovator is incredible. And Dustin writes about that in the Star right now, so check that out. My man Chad from Whiteland, by the way, now of Denver is here. Tommy S., we're going to be at Tommy S.'s place, Coach's Tavern, coming up next Tuesday. Cannot wait for that in front of game number 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Dawson's on Main Tavern tour stop, Heaven Hill Distillery. Brent Halverson rejoins on the other side. Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Alexander Rossi still to come. It's Rick Venturi earlier, that podcast at 1075thefan.com. We would love to see you here. The skies are clearing. The sun is out. It is Speedway, Indiana. Dawson's on Main. 93.5, 1075 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Dawson's on Main, Tavern Tour Stop, Heaven Hill Distillery. Me, Brent Halverson, thank you for joining us. We're in Speedway. We would love to see you today. Rick Venturi was great regarding the passing of Jim Irsay earlier. Podcast 1075thefan.com if you missed. I don't know, James, we may want to play that back. Jim Irsay's rendition of the Bob Dylan classic, Shelter from the Storm. We played that on the way in. That was absolutely outstanding. We also have, I don't know if James has that back there. 3 years ago, Jim Irsay called into the JMV takeover and had the most epic request of all time. It was a 7.5-minute request. Now, mind you, when people call into the JMV takeover, Brent, the requests normally take like 20 seconds. Jim went for 7.5 minutes.
What did he request? Do you remember?
It's The End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine by REM. And I'll bring this back up again. He was such a great dude. Maybe I say that too much. But I think I have a pretty good handle on who's a great dude. And he didn't have to be that great of a dude. He's a billionaire. And he was as down to earth and cared about people around here as much as anybody else. And Brent will be so incredibly missed. He just will.
He will. You know, one thing in Jim Irsay, I've heard so many great stories just about his generosity of what he did for the community, right? I mean, there's several restaurant bars out there that he supported, especially one, Anthony's Chop House in Carmel.
Yeah.
He loved it so much during COVID.
Well, he went after the Blue Crew Sports Grill up in Fishers.
He helped them along with some funding, and the guy had a big heart. I mean, he's very, very wealthy. You know, one thing I love though is his love for music. Like you said, he was calling in the JMV Takeover. You know, his guitar collection is worth $1 billion.
Incredible.
Isn't that nuts?
He's got David Gilmour in there too, doesn't he?
He has Jerry Garcia. He has John Lennon. Just the wealth of what he has is just it's amazing, and he definitely will be missed. And it's a sad day. Yesterday was a sad day for all.
Rick Venturi a little bit earlier. If you missed it, podcast 1075thefan.com. Brent rejoins. Good to see my man Chad from Whiteland by way of Denver here as well. Brought me a little product. Thank you very much. Mike Chappell also is about as good as you're going to find to reflect on the life of Jim Irsay. Mike joins us next. Alexander Rossi, ECR, bottom of the hour. Dawson's on Main. Hey, do not go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Look who is here, Mike Wells. Did you get something right there? Oh, let this play for a minute, James. Go ahead.
Blackness was a virtue. The road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness.
Jim Irsay, and he's doing Bob Dylan in Shelter from the Storm. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Mike Chappell in just a second. Mike Wells joins us right now with the passing of Jim Irsay. You cover the Colts for such a long time as well. What did you think about yesterday and the significance of the passing of Jim Irsay that obviously will be feeling the effects of that, Mike, for a while?
Oh, we definitely are. Hey, I'm going to tell the Dawson's owners right now.
Yeah.
I'm parked illegally in their parking spot behind them right now. Come grab these tickets.
How illegal are you?
Oh, I'm in where it says do not park. We'll tow you away. And I got your girl Layla in the car. So I said if somebody comes,
my girl,
you tell them that I went to go get some tickets. But more importantly, obviously he spent 9 years covering the Colts. And I tell people all the time that Jim Irsay, I covered a lot of owners from Herb Simon, along with Glenn Taylor in Minnesota. And Irsay is easily, and we know he had problems because people were tweeting me about this, but one of the nicest people around. I told a story to some guys this morning. Myself, Stephen Holder, Kevin Bowen, we were at the owners' meetings in Boca Raton, Florida, and instead of meeting with us inside the hotel, we met on a yacht. Yeah. And the yacht's name was Usher. He sold us on it and said Usher loaned it to him, and he started singing some Usher songs.
Nice.
Jim Irsay singing Usher songs, and then he said, I'm just playing with you guys. But in all seriousness, he would talk to the media only a couple times a year, but in 25 minutes, you only asked 3 questions because he was so detailed in his answers. Yeah. He enjoyed talking to us. A number of times he called me and everything, and we would just talk. And sometimes I'm like, Jim, I got to go. And he'd be like, no, wait. We were in London, 2016.
Yeah.
He took the media out to Buckingham Palace for dinner.
I remember that. Yeah. I did not go, but I was there.
Yes, listen, I was sitting right next to our favorite 3'5" ginger, Chris Hagan. But this is the blow not only for the Indianapolis Colts, the state of Indiana, but also for the NFL because he was so passionate about the sport, about the NFL, about his players, about his family. So it sucked. It definitely sucked. And when I saw the tweet, the number of people started asking me about him. And what I hate, though, Jay, in all seriousness, and then I'll let you go, is the number of people who want to pull out the negatives on social media, but he did X, Y, and Z. Who cares? Yeah. The Indianapolis Colts played a big part of being here. Jim Irsay played a big part in the Colts in this entire state. So, let him rest in peace here.
I'm going to see you at Carb Day tomorrow.
Hey, I can't wait. First time at Carb Day. Been here for 20 years, and I'm going to Carb Day for the first time. So please tweet me. If you got adult beverages, free food, I will come hang. I plan to be. I'll probably be there about 1:30.
I got a dude from Detroit that rolls in here with Stroh's beer like every year.
Oh yeah, I want to try it. Hey, do I get one of these cookies for your girl Layla?
Yeah, take it. Oh yeah, you and Layla.
I like that, brother. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tell Layla some love right here.
I will do.
All right, Mike Wells of ESPN Radio. He's going to join us tomorrow at Pagoda Plaza. Carb Day 2025, our normal extravaganza. Dawson's on Main. That's our location. Thank you for joining us. It's a tavern tour stop. We've got a lot to talk about. The passing of Jim Irsay, as we just discussed with Mike Wells. And, of course, the Pacers Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals as well. But meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from CBS 4 on Fox 59, outside of Rick Venturi, I couldn't think of anybody better to bring on the show today to talk about and reflect on the life of Jim Irsay and Mike Chappell. He joins us now. You can play off a little bit of your colleague Mike Wells and what he had to say about Jim Irsay and what was a tough day for everybody. Whether you knew him personally or not, there normally was a special place in your heart for Jim Irsay all the way around.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Rick. I called him today. He and I talked for 10, 15 minutes. Rick goes back a year or two before me with Jimmy because he was there in Baltimore. But and again, this is one of those disclaimers. I go back with Jimmy since 1984, and we had worked together. So he was a guy whose team I covered, but he was a very good friend. And sometimes that made it difficult to cover the teams when he would do something, either personnel-wise wrong with the team or have his off-field issues. But there was no more genuine, passionate, devoted, loyal person that I've come across. I mean, if you got on his good side, and many, many people did, he was there for you for life. If you needed something, he was there for you. And kind of like what Mike said, people that want to bring up the flaws in him, we all have flaws. Some are just more glaring than others. But this is not that time. When I had to write the story yesterday for CBS 4 and Fox 59, you have to include the entire picture of the man. But his pluses far more outweigh the minuses. They just do. And we're not quite as good as we were yesterday as Central Indiana, as Indiana, and like Mike mentioned, the NFL. People, what used to infuriate me is that people say, well, he's just being his dad. No, Jim Irsay was 180 degrees different from his dad. He learned what not to do from his dad. And, yes, there were some blips on Jim's radar that he would probably like to have back, or we think he should want to have back in the way he ran the team. But by and large, I hope the footprint that I leave whenever I leave this earth is just a fraction of what his is, because the impact that he left is immense and will be lasting for this city and state.
Do we truly understand, Mike, how meaningful he has been for this community, for this state? I mean, even in all of what you suggested, and certainly understand, you have to talk about the flaws. You just always do. We all have flaws. There's no doubt about that. But
right.
What do you begin in trying to describe just how meaningful he has been and what he has done for Indianapolis, for Central Indiana, for Indiana?
Yeah, hopefully I'm not breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit. But, no, it's just – and, again, I had a really long talk with him a couple of years ago when they were approaching their 40th year, and he really talked about how time flies and his roots back in Baltimore and all this. But what's really struck me is how committed he was to Indiana and to Indianapolis in the area, obviously Carmel where he lived. But and I contend to this day, he probably, if he wanted to, and the situation was different, would have taken this team to L.A., somewhere else, because it wasn't working here until 1998. But he didn't. He didn't want to. He resisted the urge. People think that he really used the city as leverage. No, he really wanted to make it work here. If he wanted to be that cold-hearted owner, he'd have taken his team and left. He would have. But, one of his daughters was born here. They were all raised here, so that they're Hoosiers through and through. And it was really important for him to be part of the community, be involved in the community. And that's what really, I think, hurt him the last couple of years when he wasn't able to be out among the fans and with the media to a lesser extent because of his physical rehab and the surgery he had and him trying to get back to getting his mobility. He was out there for things in his wheelchair and he was a proud man, and he wanted to be back, meeting us in training camp when he's walking around or whatever. And that didn't happen, but I hope people really treasure what they had and what he's left. And his daughters have a huge challenge to extend his legacy, which I think they will. I hope it was such a strange, you probably talked about it. It was a strange dynamic of a day where you've got the incredible sadness of Jim Irsay passing and the incredible euphoria of what the Pacers did.
Yeah.
It just shows you how you just don't know what to expect, and life throws curveballs at you. So sort of without getting too sappy, live every day and embrace what you've got, because you just don't know when it's going to be taken away from you.
I kind of hesitate to ask you this, but do we know what happened to lead to yesterday?
Oh, I've got an idea that I can't share. I personally think his body just said enough. I've had enough.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw him, he was worn down. Whenever you talk to him, he still had the strength of his voice, but I think the body just sort of, he lived a hard life. He just did, the good and the bad. So no, the family said he died peacefully on Wednesday. So I guess we'll leave it at that. But I know that he spent several months on the West Coast during physical rehab to get his mobility back, and I don't know whether his strength just never came back or what, but no, I don't think we know, and I don't think we're going to know. And in all honesty, as much as there's an interest there, it's none of our business. But I understand everyone asking. But I think there are details that we will not be privy to, which is the way it should be, I guess.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59, the discussion of the passing of the iconic Jim Irsay yesterday. He joins us. We're live at Dawson's on Main and Speedway, a tavern tour stop with Heaven Hill Distillery. I really hesitate to ask you, but I have you right here, and there's nobody going to be better at giving an opinion on it. But I know Carly's going to take over here, as has been reported. And, they have been, I guess for lack of a better description, she have been kind of, putting herself in that position ultimately to end up taking over. How do you feel like, once she does, as of now, with the Colts, and she is going to be the owner and the leader outright, your thoughts on the direction in which this team is going to go with that in mind?
Well, at some level, the other two daughters will be involved too, Kaylin and Casey.
Sure.
They're all three vice chairs and owners. But it's really, from those of us who followed the team, Carly's been the one that's sort of been more visible in running the football operations. You see her during practices out there watching close to the players. You see her on game day with a headset on, watching games and monitoring coaches. And it's hard to say how she's prepared. It's hard to say she's prepared for it, but she's sort of done what her dad did. Remember, the years I talked to Jim, how like when they were in Baltimore, they were in training camp. He'd do all the grunt work. He did the ball boy stuff, and he was in the ticket office, and then he's the youngest GM. He's the youngest owner. Carly has sort of taken that approach too. She's tried to learn as much about the organization and running a team as possible. To say they were grooming her for that, I just think that's kind of what you do in the family.
Yeah.
The father, kind of shows the kids how things are done. But I do think she'll be more of the point person in running the team. I think right now Chris Ballard has a strong role, and that's important. But I think the last couple of years, since Jim's really been battling his physical limitations, he's still stayed involved. He has been involved. People shouldn't think he's been an absentee owner at all. But at the same time, he's not been there every day, and she's had a heavier role in the team. So that sort of has prepared her for I guess, taking over. But I hope at some point, and I think they will, this is not the time at all, but at some point, hopefully the daughters will be made available to us and sort of explain the transition, because there's a transition. There is. And I think everyone needs to know how that's going to be. And I think at the right time they will. Again, this is right now the whole franchise is grieving. They just are. They lost their leader. They lost part of their soul with the passing of Jim. So yeah, it'll be important for her to like it was for Jim. It's important for an owner to surround yourself with the right people, and that's why the 2000s were so successful. Is Jim brought in Bill Pullian, and then they brought in a little later they brought in Tony Dungy. You need the right people, and he let Bill Pullian do his job. You put the right people around you and let them do their jobs. And at some point, that's what Carly and the daughters will put their stamp on this team. however they think it has to go. But again, this will be their decision. This is their team now. It was always going to be their team at some point. It's just probably sooner than anyone had hoped for or anticipated.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 on Fox 59. Before I let you go, and I hesitate to do this, but I have you here and I want to. Operationally speaking, you and I both agree we have a great deal of love and respect for Pete Ward. I think he's incredibly valuable to that organization, and I kind of wonder where you think this is going, because, hey, listen, Pete may look like he's 25, but I know he's not in actuality right here. Are you confident that this thing is going to, and again, I hate asking this because it's so early, but I'm just curious the direction that this is going. Are you confident that this is going to be truly sustainable? Because there's a lot of ground to cover here.
Well, it has to be. I mean, it has to be with, and I think Pete's one of them, to where I say you surround yourself with the right people. Pete's the right people. Pete was the right people for Jim Irsay for all those years. He was the guy that took care of a lot of things. Well, this needs to be done. Well, Pete does that. Well, Pete does this, and the things he does for the ownership is incredible. It's incredible, and I have to believe the daughters understand that. They do. So I think Pete's in a position to do this as long as he wants to, and feels that he's capable of it. I've seen no slowdown in Pete. I mean, he's got that Dick Clark look, except for the dark hair, but he seems like he's ageless, and he does so many good things, so many important things. I hope Pete's one of those guys that helps with the transition from father to daughters, because he knows. Yes, Carly knows because she's been there. Pete really knows. I mean, when you talk about knowing the ins and outs of what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how it needs to be done, that's Pete. You don't get rid of Pete. You don't get rid of important people during transition. Well, you lean on them.
I'm not talking about getting rid of, but I know he's like 25 years old and all, but I just kind of wonder. He's been working with the Colts since they got here in '84, and I just happen to view him as one of the most valuable pieces that we've ever seen around here.
Agreed.
Anywhere.
I don't see him walking away now because, well, Jim's gone. So I think he's such part of the fabric of the franchise, and he knows somewhere down deep that he has value and he can help lead the team in a direction and offer advice. Now, maybe in a few years he has a different view where he wants to enjoy retirement and enjoy his life more. But I think Pete's going to stick around for a while because I just think that's who Pete is.
Yep. So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Between you and Rick Venturi, I could not think of two better people to have on the show.
We sat there and talked, and we just go back. We know the good, the bad, and the funny, and the sad. And Rick and I have lunch occasionally, and the stories just flow. Another treasure when it comes to the Colts, Rick Venturi.
Yeah, I just you guys have been here since they got here, and I could not think of two better people to have on this day. Mike, I think about this all the time, when we have this loaded up. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to play it. 3 years ago, I do the JMV Takeover on Saturday night on B105.7. It's all request music show. So normally when requesters call in, and I get probably 120 every 6 hour Saturday night, it's like 20 seconds, and they request a song and they go.
Right.
Jim was the first one out of the gate 3 years ago on New Year's Eve. His request was 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
and you let him go. You know what? One thing I'll argue with, whether you said it or Mike Wells said it. If you're talking for 20 minutes, you get 3 questions because Jim is so detailed in his answers. I don't know that I'd go there. Jimmy just he rambles and he veers. He's a little like Jake Query, to where he starts on a topic and he veers into the wilderness, and then he finds his way back. But there's always something there that's worthwhile. You just have to sort of wait for it. But that's what I love about Jim Irsay is you knew you were only going to get 3 questions, so you better be bullish and get your question in.
Yeah, he requested REM's "It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine." And it was so great. I mean, it really was. Just, Mike, just the fact that he had the thought to do it is still incredible to me to this day. So,
he's a treasure that we're going to miss. But, again, his impact, the importance of somebody is when they're gone, but their presence is still here.
Yeah.
And Jim Irsay is one of those people.
Hey, buddy, thank you very much for hopping on today. I appreciate that. We'll talk at you coming up again next week. There's a lot going on, but certainly this is a huge storyline that will have ramifications.
Be well, and as I say, just
future.
Tell all your listeners to keep the Irsays in their thoughts.
Thank you, Mike.
Later.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 on Fox 59. That was absolutely outstanding. Brent Holverson rejoins Heaven Hill Distillery. It's our Tavern Tour Stop.
Tavern Tour Stop, month of May, and not a better place to be than Dawson's, right here on Main Street and Speedway.
Over there, right there.
Just across the street from the track. And there is some wonderful activity going on around the area.
Wonderful activities.
Wonderful activity, that is.
I said, there's some chicks over there, and you say, hey, wonderful activity.
It's a good culmination of everything, right? I mean, this is the time to be at Speedway. So come definitely, if you're around the area, come join us for the next 40 minutes or so. But if not, come check out Dawson's on Main at your next convenience. This place is great. I do have something I wanted to say.
Please do.
So Tony wanted me to pass along an apology. Tony Hill, one of the proprietors here, him and his brother Chris. Tony wanted to apologize to Old Major of Indiana Company that supplies all their brat burgers he couldn't think of. So, Old Major, that's out to you from Tony. And
shout out to Tony.
Yes, absolutely. So, thanks for letting me slip that in for him.
By the way, we're in Pagoda Plaza for the Ultimate Party coming up tomorrow for Carb Day inside IMS. But after that, we're going to be over here. We're going to be on stage with Clayton Anderson for the celebration and then watching game 2.
Look at that. I mean, you got the prime spot right there, too, right? That's
and then
good.
The salmon, which I'm going to take home later on tonight.
That's right.
Salmon and cottage cheese.
There you go. Look at that.
Quick break. We'll come back. You and I and Alexander Rossi coming up next.
Absolutely.
Got that right. Hey, Pacer fans, we'll get you on here, too. And the reflection on the life of Jim Irsay, who passed away yesterday at the age of 65. The Tavern Tour Stop. With Heaven Hill Distillery today, Brent Holverson and me, JMV, Dawson's on Main and Speedway. Look at lovely Michelle right there. What do you want me to say? Do you want me to say something right there? And your mom? Oh,
I love it that you came out,
your mom is here, Michelle.
That's wonderful.
It's so great. If my mom were here, people would be like running to hide right now. Oh, my God. What? I can't hear anything else about Jalen Brunson, please. No. Quick break. Back with you next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, we are waiting on Alexander Rossi to call on VCR. Thank you, Ashley. Picked up some tickets right here from us. Tavern Tourist Stop month of May. Our location is Dawson's on Main. I think Marcus Erickson was just here. We'll talk to Marcus coming up tomorrow. Is Rossi ready, James? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Carb Day, IMS.com. Get those tickets tomorrow. We're going to be in Pagoda Plaza. I'm going to look for you there, and then we're going to go over to see Brett Michaels and All-American Rejects. Brett Michaels was on the show yesterday and was awesome per usual. Now, podcast with Brett, 1075thefan.com. Carb Day 2025 tomorrow, Pagoda Plaza. I will see you there at 3 o'clock. I'm going to have to come back from this one right here. I'm going to regroup after today and then get ready for Carb Day 2025. Brett, coming up tomorrow.
You've got a lot of fun ahead of you, my friend. So it's going to be an interesting weekend for you.
I may need to regroup.
You're going to have to regroup, and your Monday is going to be an interesting day. But, hey, that's why Memorial Day weekend is have a lot of fun.
Quickly, by the way, James, you want to do 500 tickets right here, too?
Let's do it.
What do you think? All right, number 9 at 239-1070. We have 500 tickets for you right now. Number 9 at 239-1070. James will hook you up. Brett Halverson, go ahead.
Hey, we've got a special guest joining us here. So
Very special.
Tony's running around like look at this place. This place is rocking right here, right? We have one of his neighbors, one of his great neighbors here. We've got Jeff Matthews from Founders Grounds.
I love Jeff.
Who's just right down the street.
I love Jeff. Indiana State University, right
Go
there,
Sycamores, baby.
You have coffee over there?
I do have coffee.
I'm damn straight going to need it here.
I
in
got
about
it right
30
here.
Minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
We got
like the heavy dose.
Yes, we do. We've got it.
Go ahead, guys.
So you're right down the street here. Tell us a little bit about Founders
We do.
Grounds.
Yeah, we're at 1414 Main Street, right here on Speedway, in the second floor, right above Barbecue and Bourbon. And the friends at Dawson's have been great to us, and they're a family, and they've helped our business out all along the way. So we're happy to be here, and what a great time. Good to see John and the group. The last time that John was here was back in 2009, and I don't know if you remember.
It was Stone Temple Pilots.
I
did a shot off some chicks.
Yes,
like
you did, and I was here for that, and I loved every minute of it.
I know.
It was fantastic.
No wonder my life is the way that it is right now.
Yep. So we were here for that, but thank you guys for being here. Dawson's loves you guys, and it's been a great time.
How long have you had Founders Grounds? How long have
So we've been here since July of 2021, and we've been rocking it ever since. Business is growing, and we're looking at doing some bigger and better things. So come on out and see us.
You know what I found? And I'm a big coffee fan, Jeff. So you know what I found that goes really good in coffee?
Bailey's.
No. Carolyn's Irish Cream.
I should have known. What am I doing?
Carolyn's.
I should have.
Carolyn's. It's half the price of
Carolyn's.
Bailey's.
I'm all about the Carolyn's.
There you go, my friend. I love it.
Let's go.
Let's
do it.
So you got tell us a little bit about what you got down there. You got every kind of coffee you can imagine.
Yes.
You got your mixed flavors. You got everything.
Yes, we do. So we've got the espresso drinks. We've got the normal drip coffee. We've got a very special blend called the Racing Blend, which was originally called the Brickyard Blend, that was brought to us by the Holman and George family back when Clabber Girl used to own it, back in when they owned it.
Shout out to Clabber Girl.
I love it, man. So Rex Roasting used to own Rex Roasting, and so they were our roaster, and they handled all of our roasting for us. When they sold off, we bought the roast, and we've recreated it, and it's phenomenal. People love it. Come and see us.
What's your hours down there?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So this weekend it's going to be fantastic. So tomorrow, normal hours, we're going to be open at 6:30. On Saturday, we're going to be open at 8. Race morning, 6 o'clock. Come and see us, because we're going to have biscuits and gravy. The gravy is from our friends right here at Dawson's on Main. They make our gravy for us, and it's phenomenal. It is the best biscuits and gravy on the planet. Come and see us. So come and see us.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So my son Blake, I was with Scott McLaughlin over at Brickyard Crossing Monday, and he walked over here and went to your place.
Is that right?
He did.
Why did he come see me?
Well, I mean, I think he went to your place. Yeah. So we also should bring up that you are an Indiana State Pike.
Yes.
And every party you
There
guys
we go.
had never had a chick at it.
Well, I knew this was going to come up. And I was going to say that I figured that something like the wiener.
I DJ'd one of your parties. There wasn't a chick to be found.
I thought that you were going to bring
hell?
up the Oscar Mayer wieners and
Well, I mean, that's
the
kind of what it was
equivalent
like
to a
going to a
Pike
Pike party at Indiana
That's
State
exactly
in the 90s.
right. That's what I thought you
There's
were
a
going
bunch
to
of
bring
guys
up.
riding around wieners.
That's what I thought you were going to bring up, and that's a bunch of bull. So
seriously,
yeah.
Did you guys ever have chicks at your parties over there?
All night long, bro. You just came on the right
on, man.
We banned you. There was reasons
You banned
for that.
me?
Yes.
I DJ'd your party, and it was like a Boy Scout meeting there.
You should have come to Ball State, man. We had a little fun at Ball State. The Beta House was rocking, I'll tell you that.
Hey, Jeff, I will tell you this. I hear from Pikes all the time that absolutely hate me for saying
Yes, they
that.
do.
So that's how I know that's true.
Yes. And I hear about it.
All right, one more time for your place, man. This
Hey,
is great.
Founders Grounds, 1414 Main Street, second floor. Come and see us. We're right above Barbecue and Bourbon. We've got it all. We're one of the best coffee shops here in town. Love to see you. Let's rock it. Come and see us before the race starts. Let's go.
Awesome.
By the way, Sean Collinsworth also wanted me to
Hey, I love
reiterate
Sean.
that you're a Pike.
Love
So-
Sean. Hey, I might have been indoctrinated into his fraternity one night.
Yeah.
It was kind of a weird night, but no, I love Sean. He's a great dude.
Hey, Jeff, in closing here, has Alexander Rossi ever been in your place?
He won't come into our place.
Yeah, well, he's right here on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Alexander Rossi of ECR joins us. Hey, make sure that Rossi gets over here and gets some coffee before the race this weekend. Tell him, Jeff.
Hey, listen, I know that you're sponsored by a really big coffee shop. Look, let's go. Support the little guys, Alex.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Alexander Rossi joins us. Hello, Alexander. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm sure you probably love me putting you in that spot, and I'm sure your team owner, Ed Carpenter, loves that even more. But thanks for joining us today. Hey, I talked to Ed, I think it was yesterday, maybe even the day before. He really likes the way you guys are right now. You feel as if maybe you got some momentum going into this weekend? Because I've talked to a lot of drivers, and there's not that similar feeling, I don't think, around the paddock right now. How are you guys feeling about what you got?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I think we ultimately underperformed in qualifying last weekend, but there's been a lot of focus on the preparation in terms of being good in traffic and making sure that we have a car that's comfortable through a lot of different conditions, and I think we've accomplished that. So, I mean, I think we're cautiously optimistic. Obviously, we would have liked to start higher, but, we actually end up rolling off 12th. So it's, we have a good opportunity in front of us, and I think we're excited about our chances.
Yeah, he's wheeling around the Java House ride for Ed Carpenter Racing. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The former champion is Alexander Rossi. Are you learning every single time you're out there? I mean, is that kind of the procedure that you have? Is there something new that you go, wow, I didn't know that, and here's it happening? The reason why I bring that up is you had just such a weird weekend to where a lot of what you were doing in qualifying, a lot of what you were doing in race preparation probably was not going to equate to the race coming up on Sunday. Is that all part of the learning process with you?
Yeah, 100%. I think that this place, especially in qualifying situations, demands a huge amount of respect, and so you have to go out and very wrong. The cars are also incredibly.
Yeah. Hey, James. Talk to Alexander. Hey, Alexander, I apologize. I'm going to let my producer, James, talk with you right now. It sounds like you're kind of cutting in and out on your phone right there. The Java House ride, I want to give that respect, too, because Ed Carpenter is a big friend of the show. ECR Racing and Alexander Rossi, the former champion. We'll see if we can get him back on here with a clear phone line. Sorry about that, Alexander. Go ahead and I was talking about the learning process of this year after year. Where are you with that right now? And is that kind of a daily basis when you're out there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have to respect the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and every time you go out, it's a different challenge and obstacle you have to. So, especially with the conditions, incredibly condition and temperature sensitive. So yeah, you're always learning.
Alexander Rossi of ECR, what makes Ed Carpenter's team such a good spot for you, Alexander, right now?
I think it's a team that's on the upswing, and there's a huge amount of growth opportunity that's come, especially this off season with the new ownership group. So, they're improving and growing every single day, and it's just really exciting to be a part of the upward trajectory that all of VCR is on. You like
giving junk to Ed? Because I think that would be the most enjoyable part of this whole process.
I've known Ed now for several years. We're business partners outside of racing, so we've gotten to know each other pretty well. So yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to have a friend that's your boss, and especially this month, a friend that's your teammate and competitor.
This is a true story. So I have this logo called JMV Sucks, Alexander. And once upon a time, Ed put that on his car. He put it in the wheel well so nobody could see it unless he wrecked. And that's exactly what happened. I pick him basically every year because he's a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. I love him a great deal. And I want to see him win that for the first time. But he stuck my logo in the wheel well, brother. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's not very respectful, is it?
No, I mean, if I were going to ask you, you'd stick that thing right front and center, wouldn't you, so everybody can see it?
Yeah, for a couple mil, no problem.
Hey,
you can have whatever you want for like $3 million.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me go out and get my wallet. Alexander Rossi joins us. I do want you, because I know this is really important to you, giving love to the sponsors. Java House is on board with you this year as well. That's a big deal for you. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so, ECR had a new ownership group come in with Heartland Food Groups and Ted Gelov and his team. And, under that domain is Splenda, is Java House. And, Java House as a company is really looking to grow into households across America, and they're more than just a coffee company, right? They have so many different varieties of products that you can use, and where it becomes so awesome is the peel and pour aspect of it, right? Because you can just have either a cup of ice water or a cup of hot water, and you can have cold brew coffee, iced tea, hydration drinks, energy drinks, whatever you want, really, on the go in a really simple way. So it's a cool product, and I think a lot of people are being introduced to it this year, which is a great thing.
Hey, Alexander, in closing here, we've had all the Penske news this week. Obviously we've been discussing the passing of Colts owner Jim Irsay, and the Pacers in game number 1 last night. I don't know if we could fit any more sports news in Central Indiana right now on this particular week. Can we?
I mean, it's a great time to be in the state of Indiana, fan of sports for sure. I think that especially Sunday, having the 109th run in Indy 500 followed by Pacers game 3, will it be? Game 2? I don't know. Whatever. There's a Pacers game Sunday night.
Tomorrow night. Why don't you drive? We're going to watch it at Dawson's on Main. Why don't you come over here and we'll have some cocktails and watch it.
That's a hard pass, man, but thank you for the invite. So game 3 on Sunday, it's just a great day. It'll be a great day to be an Indiana sports fan, for sure.
Hey, brother, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to guarantee this for you. The JMV guarantee works. You're going to win that race on Sunday, and then you're going to go be the spotlight at Game 3 with the Knicks and the Pacers at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. How you feel about that?
I'll bring my bottle of milk, man. Let's get
I'm going to tell you what. If you do win and that happens, you better be buying me a cocktail at that game on Sunday, buddy.
I mean, I guess you will be the reason, so I'll owe you a couple.
Hey, be sure to give Ed some junk for me on my behalf, would you please? I mean, I don't care what it
Absolutely.
is, like a practical joke or anything. Give him some junk for me, okay?
I got you taken care of. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Alexander. Alexander Rossi is a good dude. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline and a former winner. He's with us as we're in Dawson's on Main, a tavern tour stop with Heaven Hill Distillery and Britt Halverson. Britt?
That was a hard pass, he said.
He said a hard pass. I know.
Tomorrow night.
He doesn't know exactly what happens when you hang out with me.
Well, maybe he does, and that's why the hard pass came in so quickly.
I'm sure that
there
that's
wasn't a lot of thought
probably
there,
a
John.
lot to do with it right there.
Well, that and
my reputation precedes me, is what you're saying,
it
right
really,
there.
really, truly does, my friend. And you know what? A lot of respect for him. Awesome to have him on, right?
He's a good dude.
Great guy. Ed Carpenter, great guy. Love a little junk passing along there. Hopefully, he'll get him some stuff for you. And
I'll hear about it on the other end from
well,
that.
sure
too.
you will. You should.
So
You
yeah,
should.
I give Ed I like picked Ed like the last 5 years to win, and he hasn't. So he says, "Would you please pick somebody else's ass this year?" All right. So
Well,
I
there
think
you
I'm
go.
going to pick Felix because he has Creed on his car.
Well, it's the first I heard about the JMV sucks in the wheel well. My Lord.
In the wheel well. I said the only way you see that is if you wreck, and then boom, there he goes. He wrecked.
Maybe all the tire guys
Well, I think he ended up punching James Hinchcliffe in the freaking ambulance on the way to the hospital because when he wrecked, and I go, yeah, we can all see JMV sucks now in the wheel well because you're upside down in turn 2.
Hopefully that's not the case, right? Hey, fun story. 20-plus years ago, 24 years ago, or 23 years ago, Will Power had just come into, I think it was that long ago, right? Because that was at
Probably so.
Fox and Hound. We sponsored his car with the Fox and Hound, which is
The Fox
no
and
longer around.
Hound.
I had
God
I had a
dang.
little sticker on the front left fender. And I thought it was the greatest thing for our company, you know. And
Yeah.
it drives around pretty quick, so you don't get to see it a whole lot. But never
doubt.
got any love on there. But hey,
Rossi was trying to get me to dedicate
I heard
$3
you
million
commit to
to
$3
it.
million to it, so.
$3 million. Hey James, did you hear that? Did he say $3 million?
I think he did.
Good God Almighty!
You might get right outside the wheel well.
I don't have like $30
There's
in my
Casey
name
Kinnaman
right now.
here. Casey Kinnaman's rolling through the air. Look at that guy. He'll sponsor it.
Hey, quick break. We'll come back. Britt and I to close out this show coming up on the other side. Dawson's on Main and Speedway. We have a lot of ground to cover today. Thank you for being a part of it. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Dawson's on Main. Thank you for joining us today. Our Tavern Tour Stop. Brent Halverson, Heaven Hills Distillery has been outstanding. Dev's the on-site engineer. Kevin's here as well. I know that Brittany was here a little bit earlier. Thank you, Alexander Rossi of ECR, for joining us, too. Dustin DePurak from NYC was on a little bit earlier. And Rick Venturi and Mike Chappell in reflecting on the loss at the age of 65 of Colts owner Jim Irsay yesterday. Podcast 107.5. TheFan.com. Pagoda Plaza for the party, the annual party coming up tomorrow beginning at 3. Brent Halverson rejoins now. Where are we going next month?
Hey, Tavern Tour for the month of June, John, is going to be the last Thursday, which is the 26th.
Yeah.
We'll go to OPT's in Broad Ripple.
Oh, man.
And then talk about an establishment that's been
I'm
around.
down with OPT. You know me.
There you are, my friend. Got some great stories and times that everybody's had at OPT. So Steve Wintland's kind of carried that torch that Catfish and Nicole have passed along, and looking forward to getting back down there.
We're going to sit up around the fire pit right there in the middle.
Sit around the fire pit. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on in Broad Ripple right now, a lot of new growth. So good to see that place coming back around. And OPT's, again, just an iconic Tavern Tour stop. So looking forward to that. OPT's June 26th in Broad Ripple.
You going to join us at Tommy S's join on Tuesday?
Quite possibly, maybe.
It's a good idea, I think.
Yeah.
Tom Sutton, we're going to be down at Coach's Tavern on Tuesday.
You can't beat Coach's Tavern. I mean, so, if I every opportunity I have a chance to go in there, I'd love to go in and support Tommy and the great staff that he has there.
Hey, send people to the product this weekend, too. Race weekend, the product's out there. Have them get it.
A lot of great places to be had. Everywhere around the track you can find. On your way to the track, stop in. You can check out any good sort of Heaven Hill brands we got. Again, a lot of great favorites out there. Some track favorites. Larceny Bourbon, Elijah Craig. We got Deep Eddy Vodka. You got Luna Azul Tequila, Tequila Ocho. List goes on and on. Heaven Hill 7-year-old bottle and bond, though. You want something to light your Memorial Day weekend? Get it right? There it is.
My God, what's the one that I got drunk off of at Connor's Pub?
That was Larceny Bourbon, I believe, wasn't it?
Is that what that was right here?
That's right. What it
was.
They
told me back at the station, hey, stop showing that all the time and then talking about how you're getting hammered. I go, yeah, okay. Hey, then tell me more. Here it is.
4 pieces of small curds of cottage cheese aren't going to really build the belly up.
I almost cussed. Would they just not tell me what I shouldn't do? Because then I'm just going to do it.
Well, you know what? That's a pretty good point, my friend. But
thank you, my brother.
What a blast, man. Good to be here. Hey, enjoy your stay here in Speedway all weekend.
Bronze Fun Time Campers, Coke Lot this weekend. Do I have to take a shot of that too? I can if you want. Thank you very much. Bronze Fun Time Campers, Coke Lot all weekend long. Tomorrow the party in Pagoda Plaza beginning at 3. James, great job. Dev, thank you very much. All our guests today and you, the listener, outstanding. 93.5, 107.5.
All right.